going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Prime Sports World presenting college football showdown. And I'm here. I'm your host, Israel Rivera. I'm here with my main man, Matt James, and my other main man, Christian Simpson from the dailyblitz.blog. And Monday Evening Quarterback will not be joining us this week. A little under the weather, so get better, Christian. But he will be joining us next week. But yes, everybody, we are going bowling. And I'm not talking about bowling that you do with your guys and your girls on a Friday night. I am talking about the best time of the year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And that's the college football bowl season. I believe we have 38 bowl games on the slate, including the New Year's Six and college football playoff, which we will not be picking our games tonight. We will be focusing on our games. We will be focusing on the college football bowl game slate. Not the New Year's Six or the college football playoff. We'll be talking about that in a couple of weeks here as we ramp it up. But this is a great time. But before we start the show, everybody go please like, share, and subscribe to Prime Sports World at our YouTube page, our Twitch page, David's Twitter page at David _ at PSW. And then I have a Twitter page at Izzy _ PSW as well. And go ahead and like our Facebook Prime Sports World page. Go ahead and like that page there, and go ahead and like our NFL Supreme and NBA Supreme Facebook groups as well. We should be back on Facebook Live in a week and a half or so. We got another 10 days until our restriction is lifted to go live, but we should be there in 10 more days. So you guys want to keep it locked here. And also, I want you guys to go like the dailyblitz.blog and Monday Evening Quarterback, which is every Tuesday where Christian Simpson drops his games and picks of the week, dropping those gems for the NFL and college football season. But what's going on, Matt James? How you doing?
Not bad, man. Not bad. Sorry for a little bit of a technical difficulty right at the beginning there, but doing great. Trying to stay warm here. Stay
Absolutely
clear out of the snow. Be safe on the roads out there tonight and throughout the weekends, everybody. But, yeah, stay warm. It's getting cold out there. So
Absolutely. It is definitely getting warm out, definitely getting cold out there. So you guys want to bundle up, make sure that you are safe out there on the roads, and make sure that you are, during this type of season. I know it's the weekend, so please drink responsibly, ladies and gentlemen. I always like to say that. But anyways, we got a lot on the slate today, including some top headlines that we have in the college football season before we start our bowl predictions. And Matt James, first headline that we're starting off with is the NLRB, which is the National Labor Relations Board, has directed its Los Angeles regional office to pursue charges of unfair labor practices against USC, the Pac-12, and the NCAA. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, why that is a big deal. That is a big deal because they are basically saying that student athletes were unfairly treated. And basically they are saying that they are preferring those unfair labor practices against those institutions because their rights have been unlawfully restricted. And if they are successful in winning this, athletes who play men's basketball, women's basketball, or football at any private college in the NCAA will be granted rights, the rights of employees, including the freedom to create unions. This claim was filed on behalf of USC athletes and by the National College Players Association, which is an advocacy group that has led the charge before about a decade ago. I don't know if anybody remembers this when Northwestern, tried to become a union and they failed at becoming that. I think the same organization that can't turn them down. So yes, this is big news in my opinion, because this is going to, I know that the NIL and certain players are able to certain players are able to, profit off of their NIL deals, but this actually covers everybody who plays, who is is an athlete for women's, men's, college basketball, and college football, which is the NCAA's bread and butter. Pretty much, they make billions, they make millions and millions and millions of dollars off these student athletes, and they have to go to practice, they have to go to study tables. It's a full-time job being a student athlete. Okay, so why shouldn't these student athletes not have rights? Why shouldn't they have some unionized rights? Why shouldn't they create a union just so that they're covered for the future? So how big of a deal do you think this is, Matt James, here?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you. This is a huge deal. I mean, especially with these major universities such as Northwestern, who failed early on, but that is early on in this process. I mean, it is a process to get this actually going for these quote unquote student athletes. And possibly what they're trying to say is them being as employees here soon for how much more they have to do with, as you said, practices, film sessions, just all the travel they do for the sporting events they go to and participate in. With the fact that USC being another big school out in LA, this is huge. I mean, we'll see what happens. We're going to go into it. We got a new president of NCAA coming in who's going to be, we'll go more into it. We'll be part of this process and everything. One of our former players, I'm going to go into basketball right now. I know we're talking about football in this program mainly, but an Iowa basketball player, Jordan Bohannon, has been playing in the G League, as mentioned. He's done pretty much everything in the G League that he's done at the University of Iowa. So why aren't, student athletes, participating in these schools not able to at least, have a chance to form a union and make something, get some kind of compensation out of this? So absolutely. I mean, the next couple years or so, it's going to be interesting how this all comes about and
Yeah.
where it leads, especially with the new president coming into effect.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at like Northwestern, I think it was just like one single team trying to unionize. This kind of kind of gives it to everybody. Everybody, all the institutions can now. All the programs can unionize, or the players can create a union. And and like you said, we're in the initial stage. Not this is just the first step. There's no final ruling until there's been a full hearing based on the facts and the law, as USC said. But this is definitely a step in the right direction for getting those benefits and getting those rights for these student athletes that that will have employee rights under the labor law and protections under a collective, under a CBA, so to speak. So yeah, definitely we'll keep an eye on this for Prime Sports World. This kind of moves into our next highlighted topic, which is the NCAA announcing a new president in the Massachusetts governor, Charlie Baker. He'll be replacing Mark Emmert, who's been I believe he's been the NCAA president
Since 2010.
Since 2010, yes. So for about 13 years, he's been the NCAA president. So this guy Charlie Baker, he's a politician. He's got a lot more in terms of knowing the law and things of that nature. So especially with the NCAA kind of having different legal problems. This one's another one that's coming on. He looks to be like the right man for it to be the president of the NCAA to kind of combat some issues, or to be the face of the NCAA in face of these issues. So yeah, that's a big deal in my opinion, and it's a good highlight. I mean, what do you think about this hire for Charlie Baker here to succeed Mark Emmert as NCAA president, especially in this wake of this news?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you. He might be the right guy for the job, especially with the whole political aspects that this may bring, or especially that it will bring into the whole, student body, or student athletes, I should say, becoming, possibly unionized at some point. And his expertise, he was a student athlete at one point at Harvard.
Yes, he was.
So he does know a thing or two about, being a student athlete in that regard. So yeah, he could definitely be the right person for the job right now to, push forward the whole labor laws with the student athletes.
Yeah, and and one thing the NCAA has started to make, they haven't started to shift power from like a central national office in Indianapolis to like individual divisions or conferences. Basically, Baker said that he believes it's a good fit, and this is perfect per what he said. Having spent much of his career working in distributed decision making models of leadership. He said it's about being a convener and a collaborator of a very large organization that has a lot of points of view, and seeking to find those places where people can come together, can agree, and can make a case about what the best way is to ensure we don't lose this jewel going forward, which is the NCAA and in college athletics. Because since 2021, people have been skeptical about the amateurism of players being able to profit off their image and likeness. The last couple of years. So he wants to keep that intact, and he wants to keep a good model moving forward. And people like you, like me, like Christian, like a lot of people, we love college athletics, man. I mean, I love watching college basketball. I love college football. I love college wrestling. There's something about this model that we want to keep it going forward, and we want to see it through. So we hopefully that Charlie Baker does a good job as the next NCAA president. Next top hot headline that we have is affecting the Army star Andre Carter II. There was a bill that President Trump signed back in 2019 that passed that allowed athletes at the military academies to have the ability to apply for a waiver to delay their active service. Well, now there's a section in the National Defense Authorization Act in Section 553, which passed the Senate on Thursday, and is headed. It's laying on Joe Biden's desk. But in this bill, in this act, hold on here.
What are we looking at? They must complete 2 years of service right after they graduate.
Yeah, hold on here. No, I'm sorry, guys. Anyways, I had some type of technical difficulty where I had some sound coming through here. But anyways, they have to complete a service. And anyways, this bill basically covers that the Army, Navy, and Air Force, and states that the cadet may not obtain employment, including the professionalism athlete, until after completing the cadet's commissioned service obligation. That obligation, according to the Army, is 5 years of active duty and 3 years in individual ready service. They said that the agreement by a cadet or midshipman to play professional sports constitutes a breach of service obligation. And this kid, Andre Carter, who had 15 and a half sacks his junior season, had 3 sacks this season because teams started to double team this kid. He's 6'7", 260 pounds. This is big because Andre Carter is a first round draft pick, and he may not be able to go into the NFL draft. due to this bill. So, what do you think about this, Matt James?
Honestly, I'm not a fan of it. I like the way uh, they had it before, where they were allowed to sign a waiver for it to at least give them a chance to enter the draft, and pursue what they were working for as, you know, into their football career. I mean, this guy was a stud this year. He's worked hard. He's put his time in, both into, the service and into football, and ultimately he wanted to play football. He was upset with the news and everything right after the Army Navy game. So I mean, I feel for the kid, and honestly, I'm not for it. So I'm not going to go
No,
too much into it. But yeah, he deserves a chance to see where he can get drafted and who wants to take him.
and he had an opportunity. He had an opportunity to transfer from Army, but he stuck it through after his junior season, not knowing that this was going to happen. He thought that he's going to be able to apply for this waiver. He thought that he was going to be able to pursue his professional football career. But then this happens, and this is just this is sitting on Joe Biden's desk, and they said that the change is expected to take place when the bill is signed, which could be as early as next week. So Carter and other athletes at the Service Academy would not get a legacy exception, meaning they would lose the ability to immediately pursue their professional sports opportunities, which, in my opinion, is very unfair to these young men that are good enough to play at the next level. And now they have to, now they have to kind of sit back and wait. I'm pretty sure that there will be some letters being sent to President Biden to allow this kid and others to maybe have some type of legacy or have some type of waiver being brought. I hopefully would like to think that this bill wouldn't go into effect for Andre Carter. I think he has a great career ahead of him at the next level. He's got a lot of good size, a great pass rusher, had 15 and a half sacks his junior season, came back. He could have came out last year and should have came out last year, but he didn't, stuck it through, wanted to play all 4 seasons at Army. And, now he's kind of hitting the roadblock here. So hopefully this all gets situated and Andre Carter can, put his name in the NFL draft and become a pro football player at the next level, which I think, he's been considered to be picked at the late first round, early second rounder. So this is a big deal, in my opinion, here. Next big headline, and this is the last headline, is a former NFL player, a former Hall of Famer, a future Hall of Famer, so to speak, Drew Brees, to serve as an assistant coach for Purdue in the Citrus Bowl. And we all know Drew Brees. He's been he's helping them because Purdue has a new coach who will not be coaching in here since. And the new head coach is Ryan Walters, but Brian Brom Brian Brom is the offensive coordinator. He's going to serve as the interim head coach. He's the younger brother of Jeff Brom, who left for Louisville, which is his alma mater, last week after being the coach for the Boilermakers for 6 seasons. I believe Drew Brees was hired by Purdue to be some type of kind of insight on, he's like some type of assistant within the program, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, this is the headline for me because Drew Brees, future Hall of Famer, do you think that this opens up the door for Drew Brees to possibly become a head football coach someday here in college football and maybe in the pros?
Yeah, funny as you say that. I'm reading a quote he said, saying this is a short-term thing, just filling in the gaps. But you never know. I mean, this kind of thing, he goes in has a good time with it, is successful. Purdue somehow comes out, plays well offensively, and beats LSU's defense. You never know. I mean, this could lead to something. He is one of the greatest, minds of the position, one of the great leaders of our time at the quarterback position. So I'm actually really looking forward to this game. We'll go more into depth with it during our predictions. But yeah, I love this. I mean, I love the fact that he's stepping up and helping out his alma mater at Purdue as they take on a tough LSU team and see how they do in this situation.
Yeah, no, and right now he's the countable assistant under NCAA guideline. He's permitted to work with student athletes as well as participate in recruiting activities. So he's basically a glorified recruiter for Purdue, right? Imagine a young kid, right? He's in his house. Here comes Ryan Walters, and then right behind him is Drew Brees. That'll flip the script, right? Wouldn't that flip the script? So, anyways, yeah, I think in my opinion, I think this news, we like to say, is this news? Is this no news? I think this is somewhat some news. I know Drew Brees is saying that this is short term, short lived. But I always thought that Drew Brees was very intelligent. I always thought that Drew Brees would become a coach someday at the college level or even at the professional level. And I think this is the first step. I think he might get, the first taste of kind of being on the sidelines there, assisting the players. And I think he'll get an interest in it. I think this is some news to watch out for Drew Brees in the future. As I don't want to dismiss it as no news here. But I also want to say that I think Drew Brees is one of the great football minds to ever play the game, especially at the professional level. And I think if he gets an itch to become a coach, I think he'll pursue it. Give it a couple years or so. I know he's got young kids.
This is his, first and initial itch. He'll get into, the practices and the game, and he'll find his way through it possibly. I mean, either that or he'll stick with being an analyst. But with him and the minds of Peyton Manning being the two greats of our time, you never know what could happen.
No, absolutely. But moving forward to our predictions of the bowl season. Matt James, you know what we're doing? We're going bowling. And I'm not talking about bowling at Bowlerama. I'm talking about the college football bowl season kicked off. And the college football bowl season kicked off today, as a matter of fact, with UTSA losing, number 25 UTSA losing to number 24 Troy in the Cure Bowl 18-12, and then UAB sneaking out a victory against Miami of Ohio in the Bahamas Bowl 24-20. But we have a big slate coming up in the next week, next couple of weeks. Here we'll have pretty much a game. We'll have games for the next 14 days or so. There's a game literally every day up until New Year's, and past New Year's, right? New Year's Day or so. But starting off, for tomorrow on the slate, we have Cincinnati versus Louisville in the Fenway Park, in the Fenway Bowl, in Fenway Park in Boston. Who do you have winning this one?
This one was actually a little challenging for me, especially since I did pick Louisville a couple times early in the season for some upsets, and they came through on those. But I'm going to ultimately take Cincinnati in this one, even though Louisville looks like they are favored in this one by 2 points. I'm going to take Cincinnati. I think they're passing offense might give Louisville a little bit of a challenge, especially towards the end of the game, and they'll pull off a close victory, probably by like a field goal, I'll say.
Yeah, no, this used to be a rivalry right here. This is a rivalry. They renewed the Keg of Nails rivalry here at Fenway Park. Yes, I do believe that. Let me tell you, I like Cincinnati. I love Louisville too. Malik Cunningham, great football player. But I'm actually going to have to give the nod to Cincinnati. I just think they're the better team here. I think Malik Cunningham, as great as he is on the ground, as great as he's been mediocre in the air. He's not quite the passer that a Lamar Jackson is that you kind of see. But I do believe Cincinnati has this game, even though Louisville is favored to win this game by 2 points. They're -2 on the spread. They're -130 on the money line. I'm going to go ahead and give the nod to Cincinnati in winning the Keg of Nails here at the Fenway Bowl. Next game on the slate, we have the Celebration Bowl between Jackson State and NC Central. And I talked about this last week. I'm not sure if prime time is going to be coaching the sideline. Let me look this up.
I was going to ask you if he's coaching. I'm
not sure if Coach Prime and Shador Sanders
not
coaching in the Celebration Bowl. I'm not sure if he is or not. So let me just do a quick analysis here. But anyways, yes, we have Jackson State and we have and Deion Sanders will be coaching in the Celebration Bowl. This will be his last game at Jackson State. I'm gonna go ahead and pick Jackson State versus NC Central. I believe last year the Celebration Bowl they lost to the MEAC. I forget which team it was that they lost to. South Carolina State. So last year they lost to South Carolina State. South Carolina State came out and just hit them right in the face. But I do believe this Jackson State team is very talented. So give me Jackson State to win this football game against NC Central here. And they beat them 31-10 last year. So Jackson State's out to get some revenge and end the season on a positive note. Understanding in the season, greatest season in HBCU history here.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
Jackson undefeated.
Is going to go out inspired by what primetime Deion Sanders has done for them as a program. I mean, these players, done everything for him, and they're going to go out on a positive note. And I think they're going to put on one hell of a performance against North Carolina Central. So,
and this is the HBCU national championship, so to speak. So it's the Black National Championship game. I think Jackson State is a way better team than NC Central. But we said that last year when they played South Carolina State. So we'll see. But I got Jackson State winning.
This is going to be an inspirational type of performance by Jackson State.
Yeah, and that's going to be played in Mercedes-Benz.
Final note for Deion Sanders, what he did for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Deion wants to finish the season off strong, going undefeated. This will be the greatest season in HBCU history for Jackson State, in Jackson State history. And Deion is going to take that going into Colorado next season. Moving forward to the Las Vegas Bowl, we got number 14 Oregon State going up against Florida. This game is played in the Death Star at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. How do you see this one playing out?
I got Oregon State. They're a much stronger team than Florida all around. They got a better defense. I think they can handle Florida pretty well throughout the game, especially on the give me Oregon State by probably 10 points.
Man, you know what? Oregon State is favored by 8.5 on the spread. On the money line, they're favored. They're -305. You know what I'm going to say about this game? This is what I'm going to say about this game. I think Damian, I believe his name, Damian Martinez. He's a true freshman there. He's going to play a big part. 970 yards. He'll go over 1,000 yards in this game.
On the ground game,
his freshman year. Yeah, for Oregon State. But this is the last chance for Anthony Richardson, who I believe is going to go into the NFL draft. This is the last chance to kind of polish his game up. He didn't have a great season. He's not a polished quarterback whatsoever, but he still has, guys like Topic Shea. Topic Shea has Anthony Richardson going in the first round of the NFL draft next year. So this is an opportunity for Anthony Richardson to kind of polish his game up and kind of, show the scouts what he can do. And if he plays terribly against Oregon State, which I don't think he will, I think he'll have a good game. If there's one game that he plays well in, he'll play well in a big game, in a bowl game. I'm actually going to go with the upset here, and I'm going to go ahead and pick Florida in the Las Vegas Bowl to beat Oregon State. I know I know Oregon State's favored by 8.5, but I just think Florida has the athletes to compete with Oregon State. I believe that they can. I believe they can stop that rushing attack, which Oregon State does have a great rushing attack. They have that three-headed monster there with Damian Martinez. They have a three-headed monster with Damian Martinez, Jam Griffin, and Deshaun Fenwick there. I do believe in all of the. They have 17 touchdowns combined for all three of those running backs there at Oregon State. So, and since Ben Goldbrinson has been the quarterback, they've been pretty awesome since he's replaced Chance Nolan. Moving into the top 20. But I still believe Florida. With the athletes that they have, I think that they can be able to fly all over the field, stop the running game a little bit, or slow it down a little bit. And I think Anthony Richardson will show off some of his athleticism in this bowl game. Give me Florida to win this game in an upset. Next, we got the LA Bowl in SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, with Washington State going up against Fresno State. How do you see this one playing out?
I've been back and forth on this one, honestly. This could go either way. I'm going to take Fresno as they have the better defense overall, and they're able to, score the ball a little bit more than Washington State has in recent years. Outside the fact that Washington State could be, playing in the hearts of the passing of Mike Leach lately in honor of him. So, I'm going to take Fresno in a very close game. I'm
actually going to go with I know Washington State, Mike Leach, that's his old team here. I'm actually going to go with Fresno State since Jake Haener has came back into the picture kind of midway through the season for Fresno State. Fresno State has reeled off ever since Jake Haener has come back into the season. I think they beat San Jose State with Logan Fife still at quarterback, but that was one game, and San Jose was actually favored in that game as Fresno State was at home. But Jake Haener came back against New Mexico. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, 7 games in a row that they have won, including the Mountain West Championship game last week, as they are the Mountain West champions as they beat Boise State 28-16. Give me Fresno State and Jake Haener to win this ball game. I do understand that I believe Washington State is a +4 on the spread, +50 on the money line. So Fresno State is favored to win. There are some experts that are picking Washington State to win this ball game. But go ahead and give me Fresno State to win this ball game against Washington State. Even though I believe Washington State does have a great passing attack, they can also run. They're more well balanced now these days. Cameron Ward's a sophomore quarterback that we all got to watch out for West Columbia, Texas. 3,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. But I do believe that Fresno State will win this football game against Washington State tomorrow in the LA Bowl. And then we have the Lending Tree Bowl with Rice versus Southern Mississippi. This one is played at Hancock Whitney Stadium in Mobile, Alabama. How do you see this one playing out?
Going to be honest, this one is another toss-up. Both teams have struggled over the last month with reeling losses. Well, Rice lost the last 4 or so out of 5, and Mississippi or Southern Miss, sorry, I should say, the last 3 out of 4. Give me Southern Miss. I'm not very confident with this one. If you're going with the confidence picks, go low, under 5, maybe 3, and give me Southern Miss.
Yeah, Southern Miss is actually favored in this game by 6.5 points. I'm actually going to go with that line. I'm actually going to go with Southern Miss. Frank Gore Jr. Son, Frank Gore's son, Frank Gore Jr. plays for Southern Miss. He has over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns on the ground. I do believe Southern Miss will be able to run the football against the 5-7 Rice team who just sneaked in to the bowl season. So give me Southern Miss by the 6.5 points here, maybe even more. Yeah, I got Southern Miss winning this football game. Next game on the slate, we got SMU and BYU in the New Mexico Bowl here at University Stadium in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Southern Miss is favored by 4.5 points here. How do you see this one playing out?
I'll let you go first.
You know what? I'm actually going to go with SMU to win this game. This is a battle of quarterbacks between Tanner Mordecai and Jaron Hall. Both solid quarterbacks. Jaron Hall's kind of quietly had a good season, but he's lost a couple big games. 31 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, over 3,000 yards passing. And then Tanner Mordecai, 31 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. I just believe SMU is just a little bit more explosive here in their passing attack than BYU, even though I do believe BYU can run the football. Rashee Rice is one of the best wide receivers here in the nation with 96 receptions for 1,300 yards, 1,355 yards, and 10 touchdowns. He's a guy to watch out for against BYU. I am going to go with SMU. I'm going to take their athletes. I will take the points at 4.5. Against BYU here. They're minus 195 on the money line. So it's a pretty close affair. It can kind of go either way in my opinion. But I'm going to go ahead with SMU, who has basically and I'll say BYU, they've won their last 3 games. SMU, lost to Tulane 59-24, but in their last 5 games, they've won 4 out of 5 as opposed to BYU going 3-2. But BYU does have some momentum going into this bowl game. They beat Boise State. They beat who is Utah Tech, who is Utah Tech, and then they beat Stanford.
That one though. I mean, I don't know much about Utah Tech. Sorry guys, but
I don't know much about Utah Tech at all.
So yeah. No,
I believe they're a Division III team. But they beat Stanford, who it was 3-9, not a good season for them, but they have one of the better quarterbacks in the nation, in Tanner McKee, who has been could projected to be like a first or second round pick here in this next upcoming NFL draft, a top 3 round pick. So yeah, give me SMU to win this football game.
I was hoping you'd go the other direction, but I agree with you. Because I agree with everything you said. SMU has been more explosive, and they did put up 77 against Houston. I mean, Houston was, one of the top teams. Tulane, I mean, obviously they're in one of the big bowl games. Memphis has been solid. They're a bowl team. Overall facts, I'll take SMU in this, and I think they'll cover. And I'm surprised that the over-under is only 64 in this one. Both teams like to score.
Oh, yeah, I think this will be a high-scoring affair here. Next up, we have the Frisco Bowl between Boise State and North Texas. This is played in the Toyota Stadium, which is a soccer field here in Frisco, Texas. Who do you got winning this football game here?
Give me Boise. I mean, Boise doing Boise things. I know North Texas had a decent season, but I believe they fired their head coach recently, so that's not looking good for them. And I'm going to take Boise in this one to handle them pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Boise State as well to beat the Mean Green of North Texas. A key player in this game, George Halani from Boise State. Junior has over 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns. I think he'll be a game changer for Boise State in this one. Going into Monday's games, we have the Myrtle Beach Bowl with Marshall and UConn played in Conway, South Carolina, and Brooks Stadium. How do you see this one shaking out?
It's another one that I was really trying to look into to see how UConn actually made the bowl game. To be honest, not to take anything away from
six
them.
wins, 5 wins to get you in the bowl contention.
On the points per game, points allowed is like a whole entire touchdown almost, which is insane. But yeah, give me Marshall. I'm not going to go much into that anymore. Marshall has, the better overall team. They won the last 4. They're going into this pretty hot. So,
yeah, I'm actually going to go with Marshall as well to beat UConn. I mean, UConn's a tough team, but I am going to go with Marshall. I'm actually going to my key player in this game is going to be Kalen LeBourne. If you guys don't remember, Kalen LeBourne was the player that ripped my Notre Dame Fighting Irish to shreds, rushing the ball 31 times for 163 yards and a tutty. Yes, Kalen LeBourne is the key player in this game. He's got over 1,400 yards, 16 touchdowns. He's a senior. He will be looked at the next level. So look out for him in this bowl game. But I got Marshall. I think they're favored by 11 points. I will actually take that spread of 11 points. I don't see UConn. I really, don't think UConn has enough athletes to run with Marshall. Marshall's played better competition. They've got better. They have better wins this year. But I will say, in UConn's last 5, they have won. They beat Liberty, who was ranked this year at some point, 36-33. They took care of business against Boston College in the ACC. But they lost to Army, they lost to Ball State, which whatever. And so they're 3-2. And I would say Marshall, in their last 5 games, they're 4-1. So give me Marshall to win this bowl game pretty easily against UConn. Next, and this is what I talk about. We got a game every day. Next week here. We got the famous Idaho Potato Bowl between the MAC, Eastern Michigan, and the Mountain West San Jose State, played in Albertson Stadium in Boise, Idaho. How do you see this one rolling out?
I would love to pick Eastern Michigan just because they went into Tempe and beat my beloved Sun Devils out in Arizona State. But I'm going to go San Jose State with this one. They're just a better overall team, better defense, and I think they'll be able to control this game. They have, a better quarterback in Cordero, and he'll be able to handle Eastern Michigan's defense much better than anyone did. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually going to go with, and this is, 2 different teams, right? San Jose State, they want to spread you out and pass the football, and Eastern Michigan wants to run the football, in between the tackles with Evans, who has over 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. But give me San Jose State to win this football game. I think they have more athletes on the outside. They'll spread it out. They'll pass it. Cordero, has over 2,800 yards, 20 touchdowns. Chevin Cordero has over 2,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. The junior here for Honolulu, Hawaii. But give me San Jose State to win this football game against Eastern Michigan. I believe the spread is 4 points. I think I'll just take them on the money line. Honestly, I think the money line's at -178. You know what? I'll take them on the spread. -4. That's nothing. I think San Jose State could beat Eastern Michigan by more than a touchdown in this game. Next game, we have the Boca Raton Bowl versus Liberty, who is an independent, going up against Toledo, who I believe won the MAC championship, if I'm not mistaken. at the FAU Stadium in Boca Raton, Florida. How do you see this one shaking out?
This honestly, this could be one of the better bowl games that nobody knows about because of being the middle tier. Both these teams are so evenly matched. It's gonna be a close match. I'm gonna take. Give me Toledo. Go with the Mac on this one. I know it's our rival and everything, but give me Toledo and Finn coming up strong at the end of the game and being able to control the Liberty defense and making the plays at the end of the game to win this one for Toledo.
Ooh, man. You know what? Yeah, Liberty, was a top 25 team. They were a top 25 team for a couple weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were a couple weeks. So this game could go either way, in my opinion. I do think DeQuan Finn is a talented quarterback. Does have to limit some of his turnovers. I'm actually gonna go with Liberty to win this game, though. I think Liberty has the defense to limit some of those opportunities with Toledo. I think this won't be. I know the over under is 54 total points.
Over.
I do think it will be. I do think it will be high scoring. I think Liberty is going to put some points on the board. It's going to force Toledo to pass the ball a little bit more. Getting Daquan Finn, turning them over a little bit more than he wants to. But both of these teams can put up points. Give me Liberty to win this game. I know Toledo is favored by 4.5 points, but I'm actually going to go with Liberty to win this game in the Boca Raton Bowl. Next up on the slate Wednesday, we got the New Orleans Bowl with South Alabama and Western Kentucky playing in the Caesar Superdome in New Orleans. How do you see this one shaking out?
I'm going to take Western Kentucky just for the fact that they've played tougher competition overall and they know what it takes and they've, faced it head on. South Alabama had a, nice season and all, but I'm going to take Western Kentucky on this one.
Western Kentucky in that pass happy offense, the air raid offense. They are actually they're actually the underdogs in here. 4-point underdogs going against South Alabama, who is 10-2 this season. Austin Reed, who is second in the nation in passing yards, fourth in the nation in passing touchdowns, 36 touchdowns to 4,000 yards passing. I'm actually going to go with Western Kentucky as well, Matt James, to win this football game. I don't know why they're not favored, but I do believe that Western Kentucky is they have more on the outside. They're going to spread you out. They are going to they're going to utilize their athletes here. And I think South Alabama, who I believe South Alabama win.
They're on a streak right now. They're too, so I mean they deserve being favored, but I ultimately think Western Kentucky can spread them out, as you said.
Yeah. They didn't make the Sun Belt title game, but South Alabama is a talented football team. Nonetheless, they've won their last 5 games. I just think Western Kentucky scores, just has a much greater offense, especially through the air. They're going to put a lot of points on that board and give South Alabama some fits. So give me South Alabama, give me Western Kentucky to win that football game as well. And then we go to Thursday night. We got a game every week. This is why I love bowl season, baby. Game every week. We got Baylor going against the first of the military academies in the Air Force playing in the Armed Forces Bowl at Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas. Who do you got winning this football game?
I'm going to go with Air Force and their defense. And their defense has stepped it up the last, 4 or 5 games. I mean, 3 points, 12 points, 3 points, 7 points, 19. I mean, they're playing Boise, Army, New Mexico, Colorado State, at San Diego State. I mean, they're shutting teams down right now. And Baylor likes to score points, and they've been hit in the mouth 3 times already the last 3 games. I mean, at Texas, TCU and Kansas State just smacked them in the mouth. And I think Air Force is going to continue that against them and keep this a low-scoring game, which frustrates Baylor in the end.
I believe that Baylor will actually win this football game, and I'll actually take the spread at -5.5. I do think Baylor can win by a touchdown in this game. I just think they have more athletes. They play in a better conference. I think Air Force, yeah, they are going to want to run the football a lot, and stopping that military that offense, that triple option. Triple option offense is hard. But I'm actually going to go with Baylor. I think Blake Shapen will be able to get his chances to throw the football amongst that defense. Yes, they are going to try and control the clock. That's the best chance Air Force has to win against Baylor. But give me Baylor to win this football game, and I'll actually take those points. Like I said, I believe they are a -5.5 on the spread. I'll take those points. I think Baylor can win by more than a touchdown in this football game. Next on the slate, Friday night, we got the Independence Bowl between Houston and Louisiana. They're at the Independence Stadium in Shreveport, Louisiana. Who do you got winning this game?
This was a tough one, but I threw on my Cajun pepper hat for a reason. I'm taking Louisiana. I believe their defense can slow down Houston just enough to pull off the victory in this one. This will be one of those where you're scratching your head why Houston didn't just, take over and blow them out, especially with the 7-point spread there and 57.5 over under. I think it's going to be under too. So give me the Cajuns of Louisiana.
Oh, man, you're taking the Cajuns, raising Cajuns. I'm actually going to go with Houston to win this football game. Houston has been in some barn burners. They've dropped some games that they should have won. I do believe that this Houston team should be a top 25 football team if they didn't drop some of these close ones. I mean, they just lost a close one to Tulsa, 37-30. They had that 77-63 loss, which broke the Richter scale against SMU. How do you score? That's a basketball. That's a college basketball score. I remember early on in the season when I believe they were ranked. They lost to Texas Tech 33-20 in double OT, and they let Texas Tech come back. They lost when Kansas was kind of reeling and doing their thing early in the season. They lost to them 48-30. Lost to Tulane, who won their conference. Not Conference USA, but they play in the American. It's not the American. Is it the American? I forget.
Yeah, it's American.
Yeah, it's the American. Give me Houston to win this football game against Louisiana. I think Clayton Tune, 37 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. They just get up and down the field really fast, really quick. A guy to look out for Houston is Nathaniel Dale with 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns, 103 receptions. He's going to be a problem for Louisiana to keep under wraps. I got Houston winning by a couple touchdowns in this game, so I'll go ahead and take that spread, which I believe is a -7. So I'll take that spread actually for Houston to win.
Oh, wow.
Next on the slate, we have the Gasparilla Bowl, which is the second game on Friday night, because that game was a Friday afternoon game. We have Wake Forest going up against Missouri, playing in the home that Tom Brady plays in, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, Florida. How do you see this one playing out?
Give me Wake Forest and give me them comfortably with their passing attack with Sam Hartman and Perry with his 11 touchdowns, 980 yards, having an impressive season himself. I'm going to take Wake Forest in this one to handle Mizzou pretty easily through the air.
Oh yeah, no, I'm actually gonna go take. I'm gonna take Wake Forest too. Much better offense, 447 yards, 447.8 total yards. Their passing attack is incredible. Sam Hartman's one of the best quarterbacks in the nation at 3,400 yards and 35 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Has had some injury problems this year, but he is definitely the player to watch in this football game. Give me Wake Forest. I know it's a close one though. They got Wake Forest by -1 on the spread. I'll actually go ahead and take. I'll actually go ahead. You might as well go ahead and take the money line for that. I'll take the money line on that
Yeah,
at -115 for
go
Wake
for it.
Forest. This is a close game. They do believe it can go either way. Anytime they put it, the spread is by 1. It's going to be high scoring, in my opinion. I think Missouri's going to have their chances. Missouri, is coming off an impressive win against Arkansas and Jefferson there in those boys. They beat South Carolina, which is the top 25 team. They gave Georgia a run for their money in Columbia, and this is a Wake Forest team that is 1-4 in their last 5. They lost to Duke 34-31. I know they beat Syracuse, but they lost to UNC in a close one. They lost to NC State. They got blown out by Louisville. I mean, this is a Wake Forest team that's kind of reeling a little bit towards the end of the season here. But I do believe they'll win this football game against Missouri. So give me Wake Forest to win this football game here on Friday night, the 23rd. Moving on to the Hawaii Bowl, we got Minnesota State going up against San Diego State there at Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex in Honolulu, Hawaii, where the Warriors of Hawaii play in the Hawaii Bowl. Who do you got winning this one?
I'm going with San Diego State. They've went up against tougher competition. I mean, the stat lines aren't pretty with both teams. Not to take anything away from them, but San Diego State has faced tougher competition, and I think they can handle this one, especially with a closer, flight schedule too.
I
So,
was just about to say
I
that.
mean,
That's
it's
so
at
funny that
least
you
a
say that, Matt James.
5 hours that Middle Tennessee has to
I
fly
was just
to LA or Phoenix and has to go over to Hawaii. So
Hawaii. Yeah, I was just about to
that's
say
a
that.
huge difference.
How
So
much?
yeah,
How much of a? I don't know how much of a problem
it's
that's
a
going to
five
be. It
hour
depends.
difference, I think, between
They're not going to fly in
them.
right away. I don't think they
But
fly
you
in
have
right
to
away. I
fly
think Middle Tennessee
into,
gets there.
I believe you have to fly into either California or Phoenix to get there.
Honestly, I thought about the flight schedule. I'm like, man, how much of that
Yeah,
is going to impact the game? I don't think it's going to impact the game that much. Honestly, because I think
yeah.
in terms of I think that they'll get there the same amount of days to prep for this bowl game.
Well, it's the sleep schedule.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Actually, but no, I just think San Diego State is just a better team, though.
Yeah.
Give me San Diego State. I believe they're the more physical team. They play better. They play much better defense than Middle Tennessee State, who allows 413 yards, which is one of the worst defenses in the nation. To San Diego State's 335 yards. So yeah, give me San Diego State to win this football game. I actually will take that. I won't take that spread. I'll actually take a money line on that. I think it'll be closer than 7 points. I think because Middle Tennessee State can score some points, but give me San Diego State to win this football game in the Hawaii Bowl. And then Monday we got the Quick Lane Bowl. Bowling Green going up against New Mexico State at Ford Field. How do you see this one shaking out?
I'm going to take New Mexico State on this one. I mean, they went into Liberty and showed them who's boss, pretty much, by winning 49-14 not too long ago. And I think they have a better offense overall. I know Pavia doesn't have as much touchdowns or yards or anything, but they're
Well, they made the switch for him.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Just because the fact that I'm going with that Liberty game and the fact that Valparaiso went in and won 65-3 too. 51-14, 23-13. I mean, 4 of the last 4 games, or four out of the last 5 games. Sorry, they won, and they've blown out 3 of those. So it's like, all right, give me New Mexico State.
Yeah, no, they made the switch to Pavia because Frakes was the quarterback there. They made a switch to Pavia in the they were kind of doing like a quarterback kind of by committee thing early on in the season, and then they made the full kind of switch to him. I believe middle of the season to FIU. So yeah, and ever since they made that switch, I mean, he started off real shaky early on in the year. He threw 3 picks in the first game against Nevada. And then, ever since that Hawaii game, that FIU game, I mean, they've won their last 4 out of 5. New Mexico State has. I mean, they beat Liberty 49-14. He played really well. In those last 5 games, he has, 11 touchdowns to 1 interception? That is pretty damn good, in my opinion. And I think he keeps that hot streak going in this bowl game against Bowling Green. Give me New Mexico State as well to win this football game. And I do believe. Let me see who is favored. I believe Bowling Green is favored in this game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Bowling Green is favored by 3.5. Give me New Mexico State. I think the hot hand is on the other side in Diego Pavia. So yeah, give me New Mexico State. Even though both of these offenses are very similar in terms of yards, but Bowling Green's defense, average, allowing 420.7 yards per game is just not going to cut it. I think New Mexico State takes advantage of that and wins this football game in the Quick Lane Bowl there in Ford Field on the 26th. And then moving on to the Camilla Bowl, and we'll kind of start rapid firing here. We got Buffalo going up against Georgia Southern there in the Camilla Bowl in Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. That just sounded all kinds of messed up. They're playing in Montgomery, Alabama, in the Crampton Bowl, playing in the Camilla Bowl. It's just such a tongue twister. Who do you got winning this football game?
In honor of the MAC, I'm going Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Georgia Southern to win this football game. I think Georgia Southern is the better team here, and I think I know you said in honor of the MAC, but I think that passing attack for Georgia Southern is really going to show out against Buffalo. Next, we have the we have the Serpro First Responders Bowl between Memphis and Utah State. There at Gerald J. Ford Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Who do you see winning this game?
Give me Utah State.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm actually gonna go with Memphis in this football game. Player to watch out for. Sean Hennigan, I think, is a guy that teams are been closely watching out for as a quarterback prospect. But yeah, give me Memphis to win this football game here against Utah State. Next, we have Coastal Carolina versus East Carolina in the Birmingham Bowl there in Protective Stadium in Birmingham, Alabama. Who do you see winning this game? And I think we lost Matt James. I'm actually gonna go for the Birmingham Bowl. I'm actually, man, this is a tough one, but I think I'm gonna go with Coastal Carolina to win this football game. I know East Carolina definitely has a strong team here. They're definitely putting a lot of points on the board, 459 yards. They have one of the stronger offenses in the nation. But I'm actually going to go with Grayson McCall, 24 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, over 2,600 yards. I know Coastal Carolina has dropped a couple close ones here, but give me Coastal Carolina to win this football game against Eastern Carolina. I think we got Matt.
I'll go Coastal too.
He's going Coastal too as well. Next, we have the Guaranteed Rate Bowl with Oklahoma State versus Wisconsin. Who do you see winning this game? This was in Phoenix, Arizona, in Chase Field, in the baseball field.
Home of the Diamondbacks. And my shout out to my middle sister, my second sister, she's going to the University of Wisconsin right now. So give me the Badgers in this one.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Interesting, right? The Badgers have kind of turned their season around a little bit, right? Since kind of falling flat beginning of the season. We're so used to Wisconsin, being a great running team, and having those, those great, those good defenses, those linebackers here. I do think Wisconsin plays some good defense. Yeah, give me Wisconsin as well to win this football game here as well over there in Chase Field. I do believe that they'll run the football there with Allen. He's got over 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns. He's super sophomore, big back, 6'2", 235. Braylon Allen, one of the guys that will be on the Doak Walker Award watch list next season. So yeah, give me Wisconsin, who's kind of turned their season around. And I don't like the way Oklahoma State has ended their season. They've ended their season real flat.
We know.
They're in the top 10. They're in the top 10. They lost 4 out of 5 games and pretty much weren't close in any of them, in my opinion. So yeah, give me Wisconsin to win this football game against Oklahoma State in the guaranteed rate bowl there in Chase Field. Then we got December 28th, we got the Military Bowl with Duke going up against UCF there at the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, Maryland. Who do you see this one win?
I go UCF for my buddy Nick out in Phoenix. A shout out, former baseball player out there a few years back. So let's go Knights.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with UCF to win this football game too. I just think Gus Malzahn has his team, in the right position. Yeah, give me UCF. To beat Duke. Even though I do believe Duke has a great offense, I think UCF just has an even better offense, and they're actually favored. Duke is actually favored by 3 points. They're minus 155 on a money line. I will take that money line at plus 130 for UCF. If you're a betting man, I will take the money line at plus 130 for UCF. I do think they can pull that game off. Next, we have the Liberty Bowl between Arkansas and Kansas. They're in Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium in Memphis, Tennessee. How do you see this one shaking out?
Give me Arkansas. Kansas has been reeling ever since their hot start. Yep. And Arkansas, I think, will go in and take care of business.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. Give me Arkansas as well to win this football game. Arkansas is favored by 3 points. KJ Jefferson coming back. I do believe KJ Jefferson will come. I know he will come back. I don't think he's putting his name in the NFL draft hat. But Jalen Daniels is a guy to watch out for Kansas. KJ Jefferson, I think, is a handful. 22 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He was banged up a little bit this season. He missed some games, which in the games that he missed, Arkansas lost. I know they lost to Missouri. They lost a close one to LSU, but they got peeled off a big game against Mississippi a few weeks ago on November 19th at home, 42-27. And Kansas, has lost the last 4 out of 5, and the last 3 haven't even been close. So I think Arkansas's defense, they have a great defense as well. I do think Arkansas can win this football game. Give me Arkansas on the spread. Next, we have the Holiday Bowl between number 15 Oregon versus North Carolina. I thought North Carolina was ranked for some reason. They've been ranked pretty much majority of the season. In the Holiday Bowl there at Petco Park in San Diego. Who do you got winning this football game? This is a battle between quarterbacks. 2 great quarterbacks here, by the way.
Yeah, 100%. Bo Nix and oh goodness, my mind went blank. UNC. They're not Hartman. Who's UNC's quarterbacking?
No, it's Drake. It's Drake May.
Drake May. Oh, we're going. Wait, which game are we picking?
This is the Holiday Bowl here, Matt.
Oh, North Carolina. Drake May. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I'm like 2 different pages.
A guy. Yeah,
honestly, this is going to be a good one because Drake May he's had a good season and has put his name up in the Heisman potentials. I hate picking against Oregon, and I don't like picking them because they always lose when I do. Give me Oregon.
Yeah, no, Drake
I'm
May.
not sure of the spread though.
Yeah, definitely. Drake May. He's a redshirt freshman next year. I mean, he's a guy that's potentially going to be one of the top quarterbacks selected next year in the NFL draft. He's a guy that was in the Heisman consideration. He was in the Heisman consideration on my Heisman list for a few weeks. For like midway to the season till he dropped those last 3 games. He dropped one against Georgia Tech. He dropped one double overtime loss to NC State, and then he lost the ACC championship game to Clemson. He lost to their actual, their big time freshman in that game, who in Klubnik, who had a pretty good game in that game, which I can't wait to see him play next year for Clemson full time and in their bowl game in the Orange Bowl. But yeah, Drake May going up against. Yeah, Drake. I'm actually, you know what? I don't know. This kid, Drake May versus Bo Nix. I'm actually gonna go with. Man, this is a tough one, man. This is a tough one. This is a real close game. They got him at -14. Oregon. You know what? This ain't gonna be. You know what? Honestly, this is a team that averages. I mean, UNC has a horrible defense. They're allowing 438 yards on the ground. I mean, 438 yards total. And Christian always says it. This is a team that I forget how many points they allowed. I forget who they lost. I think it was Notre Dame that they lost to. But they allowed, so many damn points in the fourth quarter or something like that. Or was it Duke or something like that? I believe it was Duke or whatever the case is. I can't remember which game it was. But Christian always gets on UNC. Give me Oregon. They have been they have been a really good team. Besides that loss to Washington, obviously before that, they got shellacked. By Georgia. Then they lost to Washington, a close one in Washington. And then they lost a close one in Oregon State in the rival. Give me Oregon to win. I don't want to take that spread. I'd rather take the money line. Bo Nix is definitely been a Heisman Trophy candidate all season long, pretty much majority of the season. So has Drake May. Give me Oregon to win this football game. Moving on to the Texas Bowl, we got Texas Tech going up against Ole Miss in Energy Stadium in Houston. Who do you see winning this game?
I'm going to take Texas Tech in this one. Being in Texas, they've been winning games lately. Ole Miss, I mean, they've had a tough slate the last month and a half, but I mean that takes a real on players and everything. And I think Texas Tech can, pull out a victory in this one.
I'm actually going to go with Ole Miss. Better team than Texas Tech. I do like Texas Tech. I do believe Texas Tech does have, does pose some issues. They have that. They're a more balanced team in more recent years. They can run that football a little bit, but I'm gonna actually go with Ole Miss. I think Jackson Dart is playing great this season. Give me Ole Miss to win this football game against Texas Tech in the Texas Bowl. Moving on to our next game as we're wrapping up bowl season here. We got Minnesota and Syracuse in the Pinstripe Bowl there in Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, baby. New York City. Who do you got winning this game?
This is an interesting matchup. Syracuse, being ranked and hot early on, but Minnesota's defense intrigues me. Give me Minnesota.
I'm actually gonna go. Man, this is a tough one for me as well. Minnesota's favored by 7.5 points. I'm actually gonna go Minnesota too, man. One guy to watch out for is Ibrahim, who has over 1,500 yards Muhammad Ibrahim is one of the best running backs in the nation. Over 1,500 yards, 19 touchdowns. He will get his name called in the upcoming NFL draft. 5'10", 210. He's a guy to watch out for. I think Minnesota plays tough defense. They run the football. Something that Syracuse does have some problems stopping the run game. They're allowing 150 yards on the ground, where Minnesota that's their strength, as Minnesota averages about 218 yards on the ground. So give me Minnesota to win this football game. And I believe that, like I said, they are favored by 7.5 points. I don't know if I'll take that spread because I do think Syracuse can put some points on the board. So it may be a little closer. So I'll probably take Minnesota on the money line in this one. Next, we have Next, we have the Cheez-It Bowl here in Orlando, Florida, at Camping World Stadium between Oklahoma and number 13 Florida State. Who do you see winning this football game?
Florida State by a lot.
This is not – I don't even have to go through the whole spiel.
No.
I don't even have to go through the whole spiel. Florida State, number 13th in the nation, they have been blowing teams out the water the last half of the season. They have been winning. Yeah, ever since they lost 3 in a row to Wake Forest, NC State, Clemson, they have won 5 games in a row, and they have literally been blowing teams out of the water. Coach Noel has that team playing really good football. I think this team is going to be a top 10 team next year. Jordan Travis, 22 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Oklahoma does not play a lick of defense, allowing 450 yards. I think Florida State, one of the better offenses in the nation. I think they are going to blow out Oklahoma in this football game. Give me Florida State winning this, and they're going to put a stamp on the season for next season to be a top 10 football team next season. Matt James, you watch. Next is the Alamo. Yep. Next is the Alamo Bowl between number 12 Washington and number 20 Texas. They're in the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Who do you got winning this football game?
I like this bowl game. I mean, it's a great game. Washington. I mean, you're giving them, fits earlier in the season for losing to ASU. I'm going to call you out on that one.
Oh, I know. But you know what? I did give Washington fits. They're 10-2. One of their 2 losses is to ASU. One of the 2 losses is to ASU. They had no business losing to ASU. Come on, man.
No, I will give you that. I'm going to give you that, by the way. That was a bad loss on their part. They should have never lost that game. Still, I'm going to take –
But since then, they've rolled out 6 in a row.
They've been red hot. And Texas has played, fairly solid themselves. But they can get themselves into some trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I like Bijan Robinson in this one.
Yeah, Dope Walker Award winner.
Give me Michael Texas Penix in this one. You got lots of headliners. Ewers, Penix, Worthy, Udenzi, Telepapa.
There's a lot of
Bijan Robinson. All those players deserve recognition. This is a good bowl game to watch.
This is going to be a hell of a bowl game to watch. You are right, Matt James. A guy to watch on defense. A couple guys. Jalen Ford, DeMarvion Overshawn for the Texas Longhorns. Those 2 guys, especially Overshawn, will be called. Both of these guys, I think, will be names to be called in the NFL draft next season. I think this defense is like legit. Got athletes all over the field. But with that being said, I am gonna go with the Washington Huskies in this football game on neutral field. I do believe that Michael Penix Jr., they just spread the ball out. They air it out. I know Texas is going to press. They're going to press Michael Penix a little bit, but Washington is red hot in their last 6 games. Give me Washington to win this football game. The spread is 4 points. I'm actually going to take Washington on the money line at plus 150. If you guys are betting, I will take Washington on that money line to beat Texas in the Alamo Bowl. Next, we have the Duke's Mayo Bowl between number 23, NC State versus Maryland. They're at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Who do you got winning this football game?
I'll take NC State. I mean, early on they were ranked higher than they are now. They did pull out one against UNC, had a couple of tough games, but I think they're the stronger team overall, especially defensively.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is a battle of quarterbacks between Leary and Twilo, Devin Leary and Twilo Tagovailoa. Yeah, no, give me Maryland actually to win this football game. I just think they they're just the NC State has just not looked good in the last half of the season, in my opinion. I know Maryland really hasn't looked good the last 5 games, but winning 37-0 against Rutgers, even though Rutgers has been a punching bag all season for teams, I think Maryland will get in the grooves. I think this isn't a good matchup for NC State. I think Maryland plays a physical brand of football that NC State isn't accustomed to. So yeah, give me Maryland to win this football game there in the Duke's Mail Bowl. Next, we have the Sun Bowl between number 18 UCLA going up against Pitt in El Paso, Texas. Who do you got winning this football game?
I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with UCLA to win this football game. Just player to watch. You got DTR. You have
Obviously, yeah.
Devin Charbonnet. Yeah, you have Zach Charbonnet as well for UCLA. Even though Pitt runs the football really well with Abinaconda, who has over 1,400 yards and 20 touchdowns. I think Pitt will give them some problems, but and this is a close game. The spread's only 3.5 points. And Pitt's won the last 4 out of 5 games. But give me UCLA to win this football game. I just believe that I believe they have the better quarterback situation. I know Keaton Slovis.
Yeah,
Matt
James. I was going to say
you
gotta mention Slovis in this one.
We went from Keaton Slovis. We went from Keaton Slovis being a first round pick, potential top 10 pick, to I don't even know if his name is going to be called in the NFL draft there at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Who do you got winning this game?
Kind of. Well, I'm not going to say I know the whole situation, but he kind of did it to himself. But give me UCLA. They're just, the better team out of them. Both, offensive, defensive. I mean, seeing, both sides. I mean, UCLA can give up points at times, but they can, get up and down the field with no problem. So give me UCLA putting up at least, well, they might cover the 55 over under.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think this game will be I think UCLA has scored a lot of points in this game, but yeah, give me UCLA to win this game. Next, we got the Gator Bowl between number 19 South Carolina and number 21 Notre Dame, being paid at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, Florida. And this is a matchup between a kid that you've been critical of, Spencer Rattler of South Carolina, going up against my Notre Dame Irish, going up against a sophomore in Drew Pine here, who has played relatively well, for a majority of this season. 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Spencer Rattler, I will say this: Spencer Rattler's last 2 games against Tennessee and Clemson have been lights out. You're talking about he beat 2 top 10 opponents to end the season to put South Carolina back in the top 20. This kid is on a hot streak. How do you see this one playing out against Notre Dame?
All right, I'm not going to make the pick right away, but in our chats, I will give Spencer Rattler credit where credit is due, because I ripped him a new one because of his past. And the past 2 games, he has shown maturity and the fact that he can be a top-rated quarterback. But I'm going to give you the honors because you are the Notre Dame fan of making this pick.
Yeah.
I'll make my pick after you.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to win this game. They won the last 4 out of 5 games. They went back and forth with USC in Southern California. I think Drew Bryant does enough in this football game. He manages the game, but he doesn't really have to do too much. You know why, Matt James? Because all he has to do, pretty
Yep.
much, he has a great trio of running backs in Aldrich Estime, Logan Diggs, and Chris Tyree, and
Yep.
he just
I like
gives the ball
running
to
back.
those guys and he just gives the ball to those guys, does enough, passes it to Michael Mayer. There's a guy named
Yep.
Michael Mayer who got, in my opinion, I think Michael Mayer got robbed, okay, of the Mackey Award. Who got he got robbed of the Mackey Award. They gave it to the Georgia tight
Yeah.
end there. But
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
he did get
So
robbed. I mean, Meyer had a hell of a season this year.
yeah, yeah, and you know what? Brock Byers had a great season as well, but I think Michael Meyer had an even better season than Brock Byers. I just think that Brock Byers being the number one pretty much passing option for Stetson Bennett. Also, Brock Byers, national champion, returning national champion, they're undefeated, yada yada yada. I think they kind of put that into account, but I think Michael Meyer is the best tight end in college football. He should have won that award. He's a guy that he's a guy that South Carolina does not have an answer for. He's a guy that South Carolina does not want to see. And for that reason alone, I got the number 21 Notre Dame Fighting Irish beating South Carolina. And I think that defense is playing really well. I think they'll bring Spencer Rattler back down to earth. But you know what? This is a hot Spencer Rattler, man. I mean, he's a type of guy, man. I'm going to tell you, man, this is the first time South Carolina has faced Notre Dame since 1984. This is the kid in Spencer Rattler, Matt James, that he exudes with confidence, right? And he's a guy that's
No,
on a hot streak.
100%.
He's one of those kids. When he's on a hot streak, he's on a hot streak. So he may be putting up some points against Notre Dame. This is going to be one of the more exciting ones, but I'm going to go with Notre Dame to win this football game. They're a 2-point favorite in this game. I'll actually go with the 2-point spread with Notre Dame winning by a field goal.
Notre Dame they've been solid on defense. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
And
Isaiah
I've
Folsky
been
is a projected
watching.
top 20 pick next year or in this
Yes,
year's
sir.
draft.
Yes, sir. And Spencer Rattler, I mean, I saw him on QB1. Being from down the street where I lived and grew up, or not grew up, but I lived for a few years and everything in Phoenix, I was like, all right, he goes from either, really cocky or just down low. It's like, who is this kid? And he has the talents, of being a great football quarterback. He went to Oklahoma, messed it all up. South Carolina, he's matured. I will give him that. He has matured over the season, especially over the last few games, to the quarterback who he should be, because he has the talent to be a top-tier quarterback. And I like the Notre Dame defense in this, but I think Spencer Rattler will make, the one play to win this game very close. This is going to be another really good game.
Yeah, like I said, so you're going with South Carolina. I'm going with Notre Dame. I think
Yeah.
Notre Dame could pull this off in the Gator Bowl. Next, we're rolling down. We're rolling down in the last few sets here of going bowling on this Friday evening, and right before New Year's Eve, we have Ohio and Wyoming in the Arizona Bowl. Who do you see winning this game? Ohio is the runner-up in the MAC championship. Going up against Wyoming in Arizona Stadium in Tucson.
Oh God! Give me Wyoming.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with Wyoming as well to win this football game. Next, we have on New Year's Eve, and folks, we're not doing New Year's Eve 6. We'll wait a couple weeks to do that. We're going to pair that up and preview those in depth with the CFP. So you guys don't want to miss that content in a couple weeks. But next, we have the Music City Bowl on New Year's Eve with Iowa versus Kentucky in Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. Who do you see winning this game?
Oh shit, I can sing Rocky Top. Give me Iowa.
Oh yeah, Iowa
I
has
know it with
Iowa has the best.
Will Levis at quarterback. Yeah, give me Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa has the best linebacker, who I believe won the God Lee. I believe he won the linebacker, whatever that. I forget that award. What that award is?
Biletnikoff. Yeah.
Huh?
The Buckets.
Yeah, the Buckets Award. Yeah. Jack Campbell is the Buckets Award winner, and he's also a great. He's also a great scholar as well. I think he won the. He was a finalist for the academic Heisman as well. But anyway, 6'5", 246. He's got great size. Yeah, he's got great size. But with that being said, I am actually going to go with Kentucky to win this football game. I think they have enough offense to beat Iowa. Iowa doesn't give you much on the offensive end, even though they are favored by 2.5 points. This is going to be a low-scoring affair. Iowa has a great defense here, so it's going to be that Will Levis passing attack with Kentucky going against that Iowa defense. Give me Kentucky to win this football game in the Music City Bowl. It's going to be a good one. And then on January 2nd, we have the Rely Quest Bowl between number 22 Mississippi State going up against Illinois. And you know what? I actually should have started the show with this one. And we can kind of talk about it a little bit more because this should have been one of the top headlines. But Mike Leach passed away this week. So rest in peace to Mike Leach from Mississippi State. Should have started that off. That should have been my number one headline to start the game off. No disrespect to the college football world. And that's my fault on my part.
Well, one of the greatest offensive innovators of our time.
Yeah, he was one of the greatest offensive innovators in college football. I should have started the show off with the passing of Mike Leach. My condolences to his family. His legacy is made across the college football landscape and at the pro game, at the pro level, who used a lot of his offensive sets. Offensive plays in his playbook, his air raid offense, and just his passion for the game. Mike Leach is one of the great characters in college football, one of the great persons in college football and football in general, and he will be missed amongst college football fans and his former players and coaching staff. But they do play Illinois there at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Who do you got winning this football game?
I mean, that's a tough one for me, especially with the passing of Mike Leach and everything. Mississippi State, another, inspirational type of game. I'm going to take Illinois based on their defense. I think they're going to hold them down, low enough to win the game. So give me Illinois.
Illinois runs the football well with Chase Brown. They have a really good defense. Yeah, they have a really good defense. They have a good defense there in Illinois. But I'm actually going to go with Mississippi State. I think they'll play with a chip on their shoulder this week with the passing of their coach. I think Will Rogers is one of the best quarterbacks in the one of the better quarterbacks in the nation. 34 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, over 3,700 yards. One matchup that I will say, and this kid is he's probably a projected first rounder in next year's draft. That's Devin Witherspoon. He's a defensive back for Illinois. Physical defensive back there. 42 total tackles. 6'1", 180. He's got great size. He's literally a shutdown corner. So big matchup for him between Devin Witherspoon and Will Will Rogers of Mississippi State. But he'll be across their number one wide receiver in Marks. So I think that Devin Witherspoon would be Jaquavius Marks, not Jaquavius Marks, but godly. I'm over here jumbled around. It's gonna be he's gonna be on the number one receiver in Ra Thomas, and so I think that's a good matchup between him, Will Rogers, Ra Thomas. I think Devin Witherspoon shows that he has some athletic ability, but I am going to go with Mississippi State in honor of Mike Leach in this bowl season. And like I said again, my prayers go out to the family of Mike Leach and his wife. My condolences go out to the Mississippi State football family there. And then moving on to the Citrus Bowl, we have number 17 LSU going up against Purdue, who we kind of mentioned. Drew Brees will be on the sideline as an assistant coach in this football game. Who do you see winning this game?
I love this game, mainly because Drew Brees is back in it and coaching Purdue. It's going to be, an interesting performance by Purdue. See how they, produce on offense with the sudden change. I'm still going to take LSU in this one because Brian Kelly's going to have their team ready like he normally does in these situations. And they have the better defense overall. So give me LSU.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and take LSU as well. Jaden Daniels is amazing. But I have one other guy in particular who is a budding star on the defensive end. Daniels. That is Harold Perkins Jr., who is a true freshman. This kid has 7.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, an interception, 69 total tackles on the season. Harold Perkins Jr. is the next defensive superstar out of the SEC. He will have his fingerprints all over this football game against Purdue. Give me LSU to win this football game. Give me what is the spread on this game here, Matt James? I believe it's like 7 points if I'm not mistaken. If I just saw this game, it's 14.5. I'm way off. Give me LSU to win by that much. Give me LSU to win by 2 touchdowns or more. So I will take that spread on the 14.5 against Purdue. That defense is going to be lightning quick to the ball. Harold Perkins is one of the best linebackers, or another budding star in the SEC that will be calling his name for the next couple seasons here in college football. And Jaden Daniels has played magnificent this year with 27 total touchdowns, with almost 1,000 yards on the ground, which I think he will get over 1,000 yards on the ground in this game. And he has over 2,700 yards, which will have 3,000 yards and 1,000 yards on the ground, over 4,000 total yards this season. I think Jaden Daniels will end his season with that much, and he'll be coming back next year for LSU. LSU is going to be a scary team next year. They should be in the top 10 next year for Brian Kelly in the Louisiana State Tigers. Anyways, that has been our bowl season preview. I am exhausted, Matt James, going bowling with you. It has been a night. We will be back next week to review some of these games that we talked about, and we'll actually, I'll put some featured games when Christian comes back. I'll put some featured games on the slate, for that week going into New Year's Eve, and we'll talk more in depth about some of these games that are going to be coming up. So you guys don't want to miss that content here, and then we'll preview the New Year's Six Bowl in the CFP on December 30th, which is 2 weeks from now. So you guys don't want to miss that content as well. But before you guys leave the show, please like and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast here at Prime Sports World. Go ahead and like our Prime Sports World Facebook page, our YouTube page, our Twitch page. Go ahead and you can catch us on David's Twitter page and my Twitter page here at the Izzy_PSW and at David_PSW. So you don't want to miss that, our content. And don't miss the Daily Blitz blog and Monday Evening Quarterback, airing every Tuesday. That is Christian's podcast and blog, so you don't want to miss the content that Christian throws out there. It has been a night, Matt James, and I salute you. Thanks for coming on the show again. As always, buddy, it's been a pleasure previewing the games.
Yeah, honestly, it's great to be back. I mean, I missed you guys, and there's no word to explain. So it's great to be back, and great to get my knowledge and everything. And everybody have a fun, safe weekend. It's gonna be snowy, icy, cold. Stay warm, stay safe. Izzy, take it off.
And drink responsibly, everybody. Go ahead. We don't want any accidents. There's Lyft, there's Uber, everything like that. And tomorrow I will be previewing. I'll take another shot at the World Cup because one of our videos got taken off here a couple days ago as I previewed the semifinals due to some copyright issues, but I will make sure to not have that problem happen again. So I will be previewing the World Cup third place game, which is going to be tomorrow, and the World Cup championship game, which will be 9 a.m. Sunday. So you don't want to miss that content tomorrow from me taking on soccer, baby, football. We are going international here at Prime Sports World. But anyways, everybody, you enjoy your night. And as I like to say all the time, as I end the show, Prime Sports World brings the heat. And ladies and gentlemen, in case I miss you, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Ladies and gentlemen, peace out, Matt James. You have a great evening.
You too, sir.